Alright, welcome back, Art 1. This is your 1-point perspective and kind of where we are now. Hopefully you're at least this far or a little bit further. Last week we created our horizon line, our vanishing points, our buildings. We even made at least 3 of them taller. We even did doors and windows and even signs. Now, just a quick reminder, remember everything dealing with the side of your building, whether it's the depth of your buildings here, here, or here, even your alleyways. And then here's another alleyway. Notice that your lines go straight across. A lot of times we like to put them at an angle, but it is in fact something that needs to go straight across the paper. It is parallel with your horizon line, so you guys can see that. It should never cross. So therefore it stays in perspective. So what we're doing this week is we are actually turning 5 buildings into a surrealist kind of item. It's a lot of fun to do. It's easier to do any items that you see the sides of your buildings with. So you may have to make some buildings taller or create more alleyways like you see here. But it's really a lot of fun. So the first thing I like to do is I like to think of items that I personally like, that would really kind of push the boundaries of if I were to create my own city, how would I create it? What would it look like if I were going to throw some really neat buildings into it? So one of the ideas is my mom is a professional baker. So I'm going to throw in a bakery here. And I'm going to work with this box right here. All right? So what I'm going to do is, just for fun, is I'm going to create a large cupcake. And what I'm doing is, you see this box right here, I'm looking at it as a 3D box. So if I were just eyeballing this here, you would see all 4 sides, this being one side, this being another, 2, and then 4. So just kind of work inside that. Now I know a cupcake has a round bottom on it. Alright. So I'm going to create this layer of icing. And a lot of times this is very, just kind of winging it type of thing. I know my base is round. Okay? So, and that's the one thing that I'm going to know is this is my other building. Here is the building next to it. You guys can see them getting darker. First thing is, now all of a sudden, if I get rid of the box, because now I've drawn my cupcake inside of it. Say I get rid of the original box that I was working with. And now I just have a cupcake. Fun little idea. If you have a huge eraser, just kind of cut it down a little bit. Get in there with some really small details. Kind of erase what you don't need anymore. Alright, so now I got my cupcake. This building, now I would see the alley next to it. So keeping it horizontal, I'm going to move my ruler up. Remember, I don't do any straight lines without my ruler. Bring it down. And I'm going to bring the alleyway. Let me darken up the sidewalk a little bit. So now all of a sudden there's a little alley here, there's a little alley here. So this is technically, I'll hatch it for you, the side of this building, which makes sense because there's an alley over here too. Alright, so now I've created my nice cupcake shape. Now, I could get really fancy and I could, like some of those cupcakes have those little sticks that stick out. I'm going to put my bulletin board up here. Again, the top of my bulletin board goes to my vanishing point. The bottom of it will go to my vanishing point as well. I know it looks really wonky, but it's actually correct, so you have to kind of trust your instincts there. My pencil is not wanting to draw. Alright. Erase the lines I don't need. So now I kind of got this nice little thing. Remember when you do bulletin boards, you see the depth on the bottom, on the side. All right, can you guys see that? And then I'm just gonna label this Cakes. I'm gonna name my store Cakes. Okay, so now I've got a sign. Now I just need to simply do a door. Now I want you guys to notice that this is my horizon line, so that would be the top of my door. Sharpen my pencil real quick. I ain't got dull. All right, so here's the top of my door. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of use my ruler. Create the top of my door. But you see the curved line that I created here? I'm gonna go ahead and curve it kind of parallel to that and make sure I hit this whole thing. And you can see here that this is even gonna be curved, right? So when it's this far away, you can kind of play around with the idea. It is a small little bakery that it would only be one door instead of two, like we've kind of talked about in the past. You can see it curved here. And then, just out of curiosity, I'm gonna draw the, again, this being glass, draw the floor to the interior of my building. Okay? So, now, I'm just gonna kind of play around with creating some shadows and stuff like that to kind of make it look a little bit more realistic. Obviously, every time I get an extra layer of icing, I would curve. Hold my pencil sideways makes it a lot easier. Curve up on the bottoms, curve down on the top. Kind of blend it together. Create a nice three-dimensional building. All right. So you can kind of play around with that. Create your shadows and everything like that. Now, this is just one building. You need to transform 3 of your buildings. So I've got one here, and again, no, I said 5, didn't I? So transfer 3 to 5. I'll let you pick. Of your buildings, I've done one here, and you can kind of play around. And if you want, you can just lift up the height of the buildings that you want to work with to create those buildings in particular. And you just kind of want to play around with it. You want to clean up any of the areas. This obviously would have alleyways, so I'm kind of darkening all the alleyways behind it, so now it kind of looks three-dimensional with the alleyway, especially considering that I hatched the side of the building to kind of create a more alleyway type of atmosphere. So you want to play with 5 different things, and the best thing to do is make a list of 20 items that you like that kind of represent who you are, and to go off of that. All right? Once you get that list down, you can kind of play around with visual references for those things on the list. Obviously, if you're a big basketball player, basketball or a basketball hoop would be a really good idea. All right? Let me know if you have any questions.